All right, welcome to another battle report by Dark Wizard Gaming. I'm joined by Wesley with his Saurian Ancients tonight, and David with his Kingdom of Equitane. We're playing 5,000 points. We're doing Counterthrust, and what was the other one? Capture Flags?
Capture Flags, yeah.
All right. So there's been a lot of talk back and forth on strategies. David, why don't you lead off with what you're thinking here?
So what I'm thinking is that there's a lot of dinosaurs I need to kill, and I don't have very many things to do it. At least not nearly enough, I don't think. I've got some good monster hunters in there, and we'll see. He's got a lot of power on his right flank, and I've got a lot of power on my left, so it'll be more of a matter of who can swing the flank best, I think.
I'm really curious to see if your monster hunters kill the monsters before they kill them.
Me too, me too.
And Wesley, what are you thinking about the battle tonight?
I'm thinking, right now, I'm hoping desperately that I can deal with his right flank, or well, his left flank, my right flank, with my Ramphidons and get into his big night bus. I think I have enough I can stall him on the left side if I have to. I misdeployed my Lord up against his Lord, because his Lord has the I kill monsters ability, which, unless I can find some way to tie him down, that's going to be a problem for me. So,
do you think the Ramphidons are even going to make it in the night bus with these Peg Knights over here?
No. I think it would be unlikely. But if I can do it, it would be awesome. Like, it would be super, super helpful. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen, sadly.
Well, I'm really excited. This is the first time we've had Kingdom of Equitane on a battle report. So, looking forward to see how this goes.
Doing proud.
All right. Well, good luck, guys.
All right.
Starting off with my list, I've got a general who's an Equitane Lord. He's got the Blessed Sword, the Armor of Percival, Talisman of Roland, and the Gem of Fortune. He's also got the Virtue of Renown, the Grail Vow, a Warhorse, and a Shield. That essentially gives him a 2-up armor save and a 4-up ward save. Plus he gives the Grail Knights that he's with a 4-up ward save versus non-magical shooting. And anyone trying to either magic or drop rocks on them will have to reroll their 6s to wound. He also is doing the whole cannonball with the reroll trick, so we'll see how effective that is against the dinosaurs. Next, I've got another monster hunter, Lord. This one's got Flesh Render, the Crusader's Helm, Divine Icon, the Virtue of Audacity, the Questing Vow, the Shield, and a Pegasus. The ability to reroll with 4 Strength 6 attacks with Armor Piercing is really nice, so that's what he's going to be doing, is essentially looking for anything big and nasty and trying to kill it. My BSB is a Paladin. He is pretty much my magic support this game, with the Aether Icon, the Crown of Scorn, the Hardened Shield, the Questing Vow, Great Weapon, and a Warhorse. Last, I've got something new I'm trying out. Essentially, it's a Goblin Wolf Rider type character, a Castilian on a horse. The shield and the armor for him is really cheap for a little chaffy character that can throw strength 4 javelins at people. Starting on my left flank, I've got a unit of 6 Pegasus Knights with a standard and champion and the Banner of the Last Charge. It's another new thing I'm kind of trying out. They're expensive, but they hit like a ton of bricks. Then I've got Mounted Yeomen with light armor, shield, and thrown weapons. Behind them, I placed my Pegasus Lord. Then, in the center, I put my BSB with 11 Knights of the Realm, Full Command, and the War Banner. Next to them is 20 Peasant Bowmen with Musician, and 9 Knights Aspirant with Champion and Standard. On my far right flank, I put my General and the Grail Knights. There are 8 Grail Knights with Full Command and the Oriflame, which gives the Grail Knights Fear and takes away BSB rerolls. Lastly, I've got another unit of chaff, 5 Mounted Yeomen with light armor, shield, and thrown weapons. Since we were doing the back and forth deployment, I kind of started off deploying the Mounted Yeoman to push him back as much as possible, and then just kind of filled everything in. I really wanted to make certain that I had strength on both sides. By the time I had deployed most of my power, he still hadn't put most of his dinos or his big units down, so I didn't know exactly where he'd be going. I'm hoping that my speed is enough to get my units into where they need to be. And otherwise, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So on my right flank, hoping to deal with those dirty Peg Knights, I have my Ramphidons. I got a champ in there and the shield, so hopefully they can hold up for a little bit and I don't eat a whole bunch of impact hits. That would be nice. Then my Salamander, that I was hoping he'd place his archers on the hill so I could just burn them, but that's looking like that's not going to happen. So he's probably going to get eaten in some sort of chaff roll. To the left of him are Team Headless, my 2 spearbacks, who are going to do their damnedest to get rid of one of his human outrider units, or whatever those guys are called. He's got a castle in there, so unfortunately I don't know if it's going to be safe to charge that. Then my big block of Skinks and Caimans that are going to have to do, I think, the lion's share of the work of holding up some very terrifying night buses. To their left and rear is my Thyroscutus giving out the poison aura and using the bound spell that gives me rerolls to hit from the divination. Right in front of him is my BSB. The BSB's got the reroll 1 failed armor save and the lance that gives him extra impact hits. BSB is on a Tarasaur. Then to the left of that, there is a unit of 25 Saurus with spears, no totem. And in front of them is my vanguarded Pterodon Rider unit with shields and the strength 4 flaming shot, the flaming bolas. To the left of the spearman is my general on a Carnosaur with the Giant's Blade, the ward save versus artillery, and the lucky shield. To his left is another spearback, hoping to do some chaffing. Behind the general is my wizard, who's got a scepter of power and a jade staff. Then he's probably going to jump into the chameleon skinks that I scouted near him. I was going to try and get behind and maybe do something with them, but he didn't leave me any good spots, and most of his guys got so much armor that the poison shooting is not going to do a whole lot to him, so it may be safer to have him hide in there with my, rather than actually try and use them for anything offensive. Oh, and I have one more character, which is a little skink chief with nothing on him attached to my spearman unit right now. Alright, first move, on the right flank I move the Ramphidons around to the flank of the Peg Knights. If I'm really, really lucky, you'll fail a march check and I'll be able to have some fun there. I move the Salamander up a little bit to hopefully take some pot shots at the human, because frankly I don't really have anybody else that's a better target for him, and I'm just hoping he doesn't get eaten by a charge by the Castellan, for example. I moved up the Team Headless a little bit as well, hopefully to finish off those Yeomen if I'm lucky. Then I moved up the Skink block, enough that it's long charges for both of his night buses to get in. If he does go, I'm really, really, really hoping one of them fails, because 2 of them coming in basically eat that unit alive. Then the BSB I moved up, again, to be far enough away that I don't think he's going to eat any charges. Moved up the Thyroscutus to continue giving poison to everyone. Moved my Wizard into the Skinks to act as a nice little bunker for him. Moved the Spear Saurus up a little bit to hopefully get in position to counter Grail Knights. Dropped rocks on his leftmost, well, from my perspective, his leftmost unit of yeomen, killed 3 of them. Hopefully my spearback will be able to finish off the last 2, but we'll see. I moved him up to get within close range on that. Then my general I moved up as well, also to see what we can't do about those Grail Knights. Magic phase was short because I'm an idiot, and rolled up 3 and 1 for dice, did not channel, and then I put up Oakenthrone, forgetting that he has no magic, so he'll just dispel it on his turn. So I got up Oakenthrone, and he let that go, and then I tried to get the reroll to hit off on my Team Headless, but he obviously stopped that. Okay, over on the right, Ramphidons did nothing. Salamander hit the Yeoman for 1 wound, and then the Team Headless finished off the Yeoman, but the Castellan is still alive. On the far left, the other spearback finished off the other unit of Yeomen, and my BSB took a pot shot at his flying lord and failed to wound.
So I declared several charges. None of them went off. I flew my Peg Knights behind. I couldn't quite get around the hill so that I could potentially threaten them again. I left too much space behind him though, so next turn he's probably going to fly right behind me again, and then we'll just keep doing this dance. My 700 points versus his 200 some. During the magic phase, I got rid of his Throne of Vines. I took a bunch of shots at his Pterodons and did 1 wound. My Castellan went over to throw some javelins at his frenzied guys.
Alright, in the movement phase, I attempted to charge his big night bus with my skink unit. Needed a 7, rolled a 5. Needed a 10 to get into his Crusader Knights with my Pterosaur BSB. Needed a 10, rolled a 6. Then my general moved up to get ready to flank his Grail Knights, moved my spear back up to chaff the Grail Knights, moved the spears up to get ready to hopefully countercharge them, moved the Pterodons around to chaff up his Crusader Knights, moved the Team Headless up to shoot at his Big Knight Bus, moved the Salamander up to shoot at his Castellan, managed to pass a Frenzy check and a March check on my Ramphidon, so good for those guys, and get behind the Peg Knights again, although they're down a model after getting shot last turn, so I don't foresee them being able to win that, but they might be able to whittle it down. And then I moved my Wizard in the Skink unit to the right, so I can hopefully get some magic buffs up. No spells went off. Failed to do any wounds in shooting, and no combat.
Alright, so charges saw me bringing both of my monster killing lords into Wesley's BSB. He'll probably issue a challenge, so only one of them will get to fight, but it at the very least got my general closer to everyone else. My big unit of Knights of the Realm also completed a charge, and luckily all hopped over the wall, so no dangerous terrain failures. And finally, the Knights Aspirant plowed into the chaff that was placed in front of them. As far as remaining moves, my Peg Knights decided they had had enough time playing with the really scary Ripperdactyls on the left flank, and my Grails used his own chaff against him, and now are probably going to suck a rear charge from the Carnosaur, which is going to hurt a lot. Alright, no magic phase. During the shooting phase, my Peasant Bowman did 2 wounds on his Headless guys, and the Castilian, being the champ that he is, did 1 wound to the Pyrosaurus thing. During combat, Wesley just took his dactyls off without me rolling, and the monster-killing Pegasus Lord answered the challenge and managed to do the 6 wounds he needed to kill the Stag, and also, as gravy, get the overrun into the Poison Monster. The Knights of the Realm rubber-lanced absolutely horrendously. They did 2 wounds to the Croxies and killed 1 skink.
Alright, so charged my general and my little skink chief, my naked skink chief, into the rear of the Grail Knights. Got really lucky on that. The skink chief needed a 9, and I barely managed to get around my own spear back. Tried to chaff his general with my spears and my spear back. Conga lined my chameleon skinks to block the Crusader Knights, the Knights Errant, from getting in. Took my 2 spearbacks, charged into the flank of his Knights of the Realm. Failed march check with my Salamander, so he's going to go up and try to burninate his Peg Knights. Not that I think that's going to work particularly well. Moved my other guys up, my Ramphidons up near the rear of the Peg Knights. And last, I moved my Wizard out of my Chameleon Skink unit because it's going to die. Magic phase, I got Healing Waters off on my big Skink unit. No wounds done in shooting. Alright, so close combat, it went here and there. So I annihilated his Knight unit. He's got like 2 guys left plus his BSB. I annihilated his Grail Knight unit and chased them down. But the problem was I didn't chase far enough with my skink unit, which means that he can get a flank charge off with his Crusader Knights. Now I had my chameleon skinks chaffing them up, but they panicked when he killed my Thyroscutus, which sucked. So and then they caused another panic, and it's a big old giant mess over there.
So a lot of really hinky things happened in this charge phase. People fled all over the place. I'm really hoping Mike puts that cool picture that shows all the retreating and charging markers everywhere. The highlights, my Knights Aspirant and my monster-killing Pegasus Lord are fighting his skinks in flank and rear, so hopefully that will pop them and run them away. The Pegasus Knights managed to get far enough away from the frenzied guys by charging the flame monster thing. And my Lord needed a 3 to get into the spearback on my right flank, and he rolled 3 1s. So he's now sitting with his flank showing to a bunch of angry Saurus warriors. Close combat phase. The errants did what they needed to do. Only took 1 wound from a dangerous terrain as they were running the skinks and croxies down. My Peg hero ended up actually taking 1 wound from a croxy because enough skinks were killed that he got in base to base with a croxy. It's always dangerous.
So after my terrible, terrible decision in pursuing with my skinks rather than reforming, I'm attempting to salvage things now. I went into the flank of his general because I got really, really lucky with that failed charge of his. I tried to go into the rear of his Peg Knights with my Ramphidons. He fled, and then I tried to redirect into his fleeing Knights of the Realm unit, but I failed that one. I didn't fail the charge, but I failed the redirect. Everybody rallied, which was pretty awesome. And then I moved my Alpha Carnosaur general up closer to get within reach of everything. So, magic and shooting, nothing happened. Whole lot of nothing. And my combat phase, however, when I took my spears into the flank of his general whiffed hard, and the spears killed him.
Alrighty, so during this turn, he's got a lot more scary things that can actually fight me, so I'm kind of pulling away. I will get the 500 victory points for the... Or is it still 500 victory points?
Is battle points.
I'll get the 6-point swing if I can keep the Peasant Archers and the Knights Aspirant alive at the end of the game. So I'm essentially pulling over to his side and trying to take his Carnosaur out of things. My Lord on Pegasus is attempting to take his magic and is shooting out, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, close combat. I killed the Chameleon Skinks.
Alright, made some charges, got a little bit too greedy. I took my Ramphidons and my last remaining headless guy into the archers. I had them on both flanks, but they would have been steadfast, so I took my Carnosaur in. They fled. I couldn't catch them. Redirect the Carnosaur into the Castellan. The Castellan fled. Couldn't catch him. Then I got some magic off. I got Stone Skin on the Stone Skin off on my general, and blew up my caster with a miscast. But he was going to die next turn anyway.
Alright, so for the 3rd turn in a row, I failed rally leadership test on my Peg Knights, and they're off the board. My BSB and what's left of my Knights of the Realm are off the board. And the only thing that can rally is my Castellan. I moved my Monster Hunting Peg Knight to try to kill his general, maybe, assuming that he allows me to have that confrontation.
Alright, turn 6, I charged the Ramphidons into the archers. The archers fled through the knights, but did not go off the board. I redirected into the Castellan. My spears and my general turned to face the Lord on the Pegasus. I shot him up with my spearbacks, but didn't do anything. And the Castellan actually held against the Ramphidons.
Alright, so my turn 6, pretty much the way that this entire game has gone for me. The peasants had a second chance at a 7 to try to rally and give it at least the secondary objective, but they decided to run off the table. My lord on Pegasus tried to charge his lord and failed charge there, and my castellan, as the cherry on the cake, decided to die the final turn. So that's that.
All right, well, Wesley, congratulations. Your first battle report win, and
Yes.
and first win for the Saurian Ancients on a battle report.
Yes, representing the lizards.
All right, David, I know it was a sad game for you.
They happen.
What do you feel was the biggest turning point?
Honestly, my BSB, whenever they had that one turn where the BSB unit,
Rubber lanced.
well, rubber lanced to start, and then the next turn rolled a ton of 1s on the armor saves.
Right.
I think if that unit had stayed in the center, maybe I would have had a little bit more leadership reroll potential. I mean, I had multiple chances at all the leadership tests, but just having that BSB not be there. The other thing, I don't know, having my general being all the way over wherever wasn't. I was hoping to get him more involved, but Wesley's use of chaff was kind of infuriating at times. So
Thank you, sir.
You do have a lot of chaff in this list.
I do. I love it. I love having the chaff in this list, especially against something like Knights of Equitaine. You guys get the charge off, and it hurts a lot. This game, I made some poor decisions in this game.
When you charged with your BSB,
I really made two big bad ones.
yeah.
One was charging with the BSB. I mean, I wasn't going to get away from his stupid monster-killing lord. Well, one of his monster-killing lords, the one on the Peg Knight. But I could have delayed him. I could have backed up and shot at him and not lost my BSB, what, turn 2? Turn 2, which was just very sad.
Well, we had one turn where there was, 9 people fleeing
Oh
or
my
something?
God, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
I think we had 12 tokens out between charges and fleeing. I've never seen a table that was all red.
Red everywhere. It was amazing. And the other stupid thing I did was I should not have. I really wanted to catch his BSB's unit, but they were rallying on half leadership anyway, and I only had 2 dice to pursue with my skink unit. And what I should have done is just reformed. I should have just reformed and faced the stupid Crusader Knights and just pursued with my spearback. Like, that was Team Headless could have taken care of it. But no, I had to pursue and eat a flank charge from those guys. That was a terrible decision. But for the most part, I wish I could take more credit, but mostly David's dice were just garbage, especially his leadership.
Those were some unlucky leadership rolls. That was leadership not of knights for sure.
yeah, well, we'll try it again later.
Sounds good. Well, thanks a lot for playing, guys. That was a great game.
Good game?
See you on the next battle report. Thanks for watching our Dark Wizard Gaming video. If you enjoyed this video, please use the subscribe and the like features here on YouTube. And then leave us any comments for anything that maybe you want to see different on the videos, any upcoming content, or anything else you'd like to see. So thanks a lot, and see you on the next video.